Humans are all connected to the ecosystems we live in. And when we start to understand those ecosystems and the various facets of the world and how they're all related to each other, we can make more positive impacts on the systems we're a part of. My goal is to educate people about our connection to plants, to wildlife, their connection to each other, and all of how they're connected to each other, we're connected to them, in order to make people the best eco stewards that they can possibly be. I run a wide variety of programs to accomplish this goal, from botanical illustration workshops that teach participants how to observe and how to think critically and ask, why is this plant this way? Why is it colored in this way? What function does it have? To then terrarium building programs that look at the various layers of an ecosystem, how to emulate them in a small scale, but also about how to encourage all of those layers to work in harmony with one another and with ourselves. I also do foraging programs that get participants outside, observing the natural world, discovering how to use plants to benefit us both physically and emotionally, and how those plants then support wildlife, and how that wildlife can work to support us, and how that cycle is just perpetuated. In an era of human-caused climate change, we see many people, especially young adults and teens, who suffer from climate anxiety. Many feel hopeless, as science tells us that unless drastic action is taken, and soon, the world as we know it is going to end. One survey looks at people ages 16 to 25, and it finds that 1/3 of them look at their future and are completely frightened. Over half of them think that humanity is completely doomed, and an overwhelming majority of those that were surveyed have feelings of anxiety. They're scared, they're worried. Some of them are angry about what their future holds. As a Christian and a relatively young adult, I know that even in the face of drastic environmental changes that looms over all of our lives and our futures, that God is the God of hope. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit, you may abound in hope." The environmental crisis is a scary thing, but it's not by our own power that we can feel hope, it's by His. When we have this hope, it doesn't mean that we can just stop being eco-stewards as God has commanded us to be. This means that when we trust in the God of hope, the problems and the worries of this world don't need to fill us with fear or anxiety. We know that this world will fade. Both science and the Bible tell us that this is true. But what doesn't fade are the promises of God. In the Art of Ecology's programs that focus on bringing both hope and empowerment to youth and young adults, I educate them not just about ways to be active environmental stewards that help to mitigate the effects of climate change, but also to empower them to speak up and take action for God's creation. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are His workmanship, created for good works, which God has prepared for us to do ahead of time." Not only should this verse show us that we have great value that God sees in us, we are His workmanship, but also it should bring us hope. God knows what the future holds. He knows about the climate crisis we face now and into the future. And He has prepared a time where we can use the skills that He has given us. That future may look a little scary, but when we serve the God of hope, we can face that future head on and shine our light even brighter to set examples to the world around us of what a godly environmental steward should look like, how they act, and how they care for others. It is my goal that through the programs that I use the skills of teaching and the passion for plants and animals that God has given me to set that example for others. I want students, regardless of age, to know the hope that I feel and to be empowered to make a positive difference for the planet that we all share and to bring glory to the one who created it. You can learn more about my programs and the workshops that I offer, both for faith-based groups or for the general public, at www.theartofecology.com.